Hello, this is Bryn the Kinky Yogi. I am poly, kinky, and queer, and I am also a coach that helps people live and love authentically. I specialize in alternative lifestyles, and I will support you in whatever you dare to dream. Now, today I'm just going to do a quick, rapid-fire video talking about some questions that were submitted to me by viewers, listeners, and clients. So let's go ahead and go through them. So right here on my desk, I have the first question. How would you define polyamory or a polyamorous relationship? Easy. Poly means many, amory means love. Less simple definition is you have the capacity or you choose to allow yourself the capacity to have multiple romantic or sexual partners. These will vary in how they express themselves. Some of them you will live with, some of them you will see now and then. And it's up to you how you define that and what works for you. And they also have a say in it. Number 2, is swinging considered polyamory? I have not really dipped my toes in the swinging world, and I don't really want to. It doesn't really vibe with what I want to do because I'm mostly a demisexual, so I really find attraction in getting to have a real deep connection with someone first before anything sexual goes on. However, there's nothing wrong with swinging. It's just very different in my opinion. What I do know about it is mostly heteronormative. It's not very queer friendly. I see mostly man and woman couples looking to switch with other male and female couples or gender it that way. And usually it doesn't leave the bedroom or the play space. Now, this isn't to say it won't. You can totally have wife swapping going on with the same couple for years. And I would say that that is definitely a version of polyamory because at some point you're going to have drinks together and you're going to talk and you're going to care about what they're doing with their life. So swinging, I think, by definition is not polyamory, but it doesn't mean it can't become polyamory. Question 3. What examples around you, or me, did I have for successful polyamorous relationships? Almost none. Almost none. But I had literature and I had a few really beautiful, amazing, supportive couples. I had community. I just got lucky. And I would really recommend you finding that as much as you can, reaching out, because being alone and doing this is going to just make you, you're already questioning your identity. This is an identity shift. So if you've got somebody who is reflecting back to what is going on in your mind, what's going on in your heart, and just helping by talking about it, it's going to be very, very, very helpful to you. How would you, me, label or define what currently is practiced in my relationship or relationships? I practice polyamory, but I also sprinkle in BDSM, which means that while I do have many multiple partners, I also get to choose who I do scenes with as like a dominant or submissive, and that does not necessarily mean sex. For me, however, I do feel like the people I consistently play with, there is a relationship, and even if there's no sex, to me, a relationship is a relationship, especially if there's something deep and connective, so that's polyamorous. I do also have people that I feel mostly like I'm more of a friend with, and I'm not really attached to the sexual aspect of this relationship, but I deeply care about them. So for me, I keep it pretty fluid, and I also like to have a variety of relationships with people. Doesn't matter their gender, it just matters that we deeply care about each other and we respect each other and we are clear about what we want from that relationship. Okay, question 5. What do I most enjoy about being in a polyamorous relationship? Polyamorous. I would say I really love that I am never having to hide. I get to be honest when I have feelings about somebody. It just comes up and I'm like, oh, I have feelings for this person. And I can tell my partner or partners about it. And if something triggers an insecurity, we address it. And it doesn't go like under the surface, hidden where I can't deal with it. It's there. So I feel like it's been a great opportunity for me to explore personal growth, trust, address where jealousy may come from, and have a lot of support in that as well. Is there anything that surprised me as I entered into a polyamorous relationship that I wasn't expecting? Love. I know that sounds kind of weird when it's many loves, but the truth is I didn't realize that people could be so loving because to allow for so much space to talk about things and address insecurities and jealousy and basically be very, very vulnerable in a relationship is so powerful, but I don't think it happens very often. And for someone to just generally have compersion for me, having a really good date night or having a good experience or getting to do this, first time of experience with somebody that I've like always been curious about, and having a loving, supportive partner to return to then share and debrief, that's priceless to me. I get to live multiple lives in one lifetime. Is everyone at Burning Man poly? No, I don't know. I don't know where that question's coming from, but I would say no. But Burning Man has a little bit of everything, and if you're looking for it, you can probably find it. But I would say that Burning Man culture is a little more open, so it really promotes openness in a lot of ways and radical inclusion. So while people are there, they may end up experiencing or exploring a side of themselves that they didn't feel they could in the default world, so the rest of where they come from, because their culture or society didn't support that. And so when you just throw out all the rules, or a lot of the rules, and go with just a set of values and principles like radical inclusion, then you can potentially unlock a lot for somebody that they weren't given permission to experience or explore before. So that's what the burn can do for some people. And maybe that's why they end up poly, because they just feel so much love. Question 8. What is a unicorn? Well, a unicorn is usually a female. And usually unicorn hunters are a male and a female couple that are seeking a third, a female, to join them, and not seeking anything that's going to really disrupt their primary relationship. It has a lot of privilege given to the couple and not a lot of privilege or rights given to the third. It is used as something to spice up the relationship, to enhance things, and unfortunately the needs are not usually met of that third person, and they don't have a lot of rights, and they may really, really care about that couple, but if the couple feels threatened, oftentimes they don't really deal with underlying issue of why they're feeling insecure or jealous. They just cut ties with the unicorn. Now, to imagine that there's somebody out there that is going to be super hot and please you and your partner and meet all of your needs and not really even need any of their needs taken care of is almost non-existent and really hard to find, a little bit like a unicorn. The male equivalent of this, terminology-wise, it's not very often used, is a dragon. So dragons, unicorns, very hard to find, to the point where they probably don't exist. And anybody who enters into a relationship not needing any of their needs met and completely down for just basically being treated like a sexual object to a degree is kind of non-existent. All right, question 9. Is it common for a couple to look for someone to invite into their relationships? I would say yeah, but I would also say it has like an age bracket too. I see this happening more with people after like age 28 or 30, but sometimes I see it as young as like 23, 25. And on rare occasions, I do see this start in teenage years where people are just like, nope, I know this is me. And it has a lot to do with what kind of support they have in their community or with friends, how much they're trying to please other people and their expectations of them. But I would say it's pretty common. If you haven't experienced it, maybe you're just not going to places where it happens. But it definitely happens, because I would say easily like 99% of the population has thought about being with somebody else. And at some point that conversation is going to come up. And sometimes it comes up pretty early if you got married young, because both of you know you haven't really explored a lot. And then you're like, well, what else is there? And then you're feeling really good with each other and you want to try it. And how people do that is very up to them, but I would definitely recommend, please, please, please do your research. And that means just read some books, meet with some community members. You don't need to reproduce their mistakes, right? You can make your own. What advice would you give to someone who is single and interested in exploring polyamory? Read Jessica Fern's Polysecure. The book Polysecure, Polysecure, has a lot to do with attachment styles, which everybody has, and it's really going to help you figure out, one, how to regulate your nervous system if you're feeling triggered or something's coming up for you. It's going to show you what types of polyamory there are, which there are many. I think there's like at least 10 different types that she talks about. It's going to help you understand why you have the attachment style you do. So why are you attracted to the people that you're attracted to? Why are you only dating people who are avoidant or unavailable, or why do you always end up with people who are asking for more and really needy and insecure? And then it's just going to kind of open up your mind to what's possible in healthy polyamory, and you might as well start there. There's also other books you can read, More Than Two, Opening Up, but I would say read that book for sure, and then find a community, listen to some podcasts, because it's a whole different world for somebody who's just been conditioned to do heteronormative monogamy for a very long time. And let's see, one of our last questions here is, what advice would you give to someone in a monogamous relationship, so not single, who is interested in exploring polyamory? Same, start with Polysecure, but if you can find a polyamory supportive coach or therapist or marriage and family therapist, I would really recommend it. It would help your marriage survive, because this is now going to be the end of your marriage. And by that I mean, it doesn't mean you're divorced. It just means what you thought your marriage was is now going to change. So allow yourself some space to grieve, and then let it evolve. And do that with kindness, and slow down, and don't have to rush or prove anything. Really, really get some support on how to do this with some grace and understanding, because it's going to bring up so much for you. But it is possible to just have a wonderful and beautiful and even stronger relationship after, but not if you're erring on the side of like possession and fear and just, well, a little bit of ignorance of like what you may or may not come across. The last question is, what is my story? When did I first learn about polyamory? And when did I realize it was right for me? That is a very long story, very detailed, but I would say the briefest version of it is, I think I've always been poly, but I didn't have a word for it. And if I had a word, I would have known to seek out a community or some books or something to explore it. So I'm really glad that you are watching this, because now you have a word for it. Now you can go find some more things. Hopefully you've already stumbled upon it. That's why you're here. But I was a serial monogamist. I kept ending up in relationship after relationship. I did have some insecurity and needed validation for different things, and really just felt like I had a little bit of codependence. There was a lot of things going on, and eventually I had to learn to just choose myself. I did end up married. I did try being in a monogamous, heteronormative relationship, but the truth is, I am so hungry for everything that life has to offer, and I just really, really, really enjoy seeing what's possible. And that, in this case, requires a partner that is open and willing to allow me to explore. And luckily I ended up with somebody who is just as hungry and open and wanting to try out the world. So I'm really lucky like that. And you can be lucky too. And you just screw lucky. You can just create that for yourself. So I fully committed to just being open and living a life as a poly, kinky, and queer person. And by doing that and living and loving authentically and just saying, all right, this is who I am, I actually attracted some amazing people into my life and amazing communities. And now I'm here helping people do the same and live in their truth and live in their selves and just really explore what it means to be them and want what they want and feel their feelings and desire their desires. So those are some of our frequently asked questions. I hope you are having a lovely day or night or whatever it is. If you got more questions, go ahead and leave me a message or comment. Take care.